welcome back, and thank you for joining us. It is us, Dragon's Greed Gaming, and we are back with our next full actual play series. We are switching over from the world that was of Warhammer Fantasy, and we are jumping over 40,000 years in the future to the grim darkness of Warhammer 40,000. We are going to be playing Wrath and Glory, the current RPG that is also produced by Cubicle 7. And we are going to be playing an all-orc greenskin campaign. We've been talking about it for weeks and months now, and it is finally here. So join us as we celebrate Orktober and we dive into some zany goodness. But as always, before we begin, if you are new to the channel, thank you for joining us. If you are a returning customer, I know some of you are out there, Andres, Bubba, and a few others. Thank you for staying along for the ride, and I hope you guys get a kick out of this, as we will be here every Friday for the foreseeable future to dive in and have some fun. If you're new, consider subscribing. Give us a like on Facebook or our YouTube channel. Check us out on Spreaker, where we host the podcast. Or please, please, please stop by Apple Podcasts, where you can leave us a 5-star review and help us build the channel even more. Anything you do helps. And if you really want to help support the channel and you got a few extra coins in your pocket, why not stop by our Patreon and throw a few of those coins into the Dragon's Hoard? We've got 4 different tiers of rewards you can get your hands on. Access to our Discord channel with exclusive Discord roles if you're a patron. Along with access to artwork by our very own Kyle the Redbeard. He's been pumping out some character art for some of our fantasy NPCs and players. We've also got some... what else do we have? Oh, we've got a monthly Warhammer Fantasy game we've been running. So if you want more action, not quite as dark as Gallows Geist, but certainly still in the vein of Warhammer, come check out the political struggles in Ubersreich, as we have a new group of characters and cast checking things out. And some other goodies too. If you want to get in on a special roleplay group with us, or hang out with any of the staff for a little bit and get a private chat, talk about whatever, come on by. We got some cool stuff for you. And if not, that's okay too. I know times are tough, especially with gas prices the way they are. Not everybody's got some extra coins. So if you can't do that, just stop by, give us a thumbs up somewhere, leave us a review, because that's just as helpful, if not more. Without further ado, one last thing. We are very pleased, or I should say I am very pleased to say that today's episode is sponsored. That's right, sponsored by Manscaped. Now, some of you might be wondering, what the hell is Manscaped? Some of you probably know what it is. Well, Manscaped is a company that is all about taking care of your balls. That's right. Gentlemen, or ladies, if you have a gentleman in your life, point them towards Manscaped. They make some fantastic products for taking care of your nether regions, grooming, shaving, de-stinkifying, and all-around comfort for your family jewels. And they have kindly reached out to us and asked if we wanted to have them sponsor a couple episodes, and we said yes, because funny enough, I have actually been using Manscaped products for about a year or two before they reached out to me. And they said they heard about our show, and, well, I wouldn't have invited them here to sponsor us if I didn't like their stuff or think they were worth it. So it's not shit, is basically what I'm saying. It's the real deal. And we were fortunate enough, they sent us out some awesome product boxes that included their latest grooming device called the Lawnmower 4.0, along with some of their products and a nice little bag to put everything in. So myself, Eric, Sean, and Kyle all got those kits as well. and we're going to talk just a little bit about that really quick. So we'll just go around the table here. Just tell us what you guys like the most, or what you think our customers, not our customers, our listeners should know uh, for um, for what they've got out there. So, Sean, if you want to start us off.
Yeah, my favorite was actually the crop preserver. So it's like ball deodorant and anti-chafe and like a cream sort of paste you put on. Um, and so I took it to Gen Con a few weeks ago and walking throughout the halls and then back to and from the hotel. Didn't get any chafing, which normally, you've been to Gen Con, it's hot, sweaty, do a lot of walking, and eventually you get some chafe, but no chafing. So I was really surprised. So I really like that.
Oh, I didn't realize it was anti-chafe as well. But that's awesome, because you are right. I've had a few Gen Cons where just not enough baby powder to keep going.
Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. Kyle, what would you like to say?
All right, so I got my balls out, and if I can describe it to you, it's kind of like an angry beehive. So, um, no, I'm just kidding. I really dug. Yeah, the crop preserver is great, especially the crop reviver. They call it a ball toner. It's basically comes in a little spritzer, um, and if you're feeling a little less than sexy during the day, you just excuse yourself, go to the bathroom, and give yourself a little spritz down there. It's very cooling. I don't think there's any like mint or mentholy type deals, so it's not like tingly, but it is very cooling. And yeah, it smells amazing.
Cool. And Eric, how about you, man?
So what I'll say is I've actually also been using their products for probably a year or two now as well, and have really,
Oh,
really
really?
liked
That's
the way
crazy.
really like the way they take care of everything down there. I think one of my favorites would be the crop mop, which are the wipes. 'Cause they're
Okay. We
really
don't
good
have
for
any of
like.
those, but yeah, what are they? Tell us more.
So they are like basically wipes to kind of like freshen up down there. And I know, being from the military and you know being out in the field, like we used to use baby wipes to
Hmm.
kind of like clean up, and these would have been so much nicer to have out there. They're you know all the like chemical free stuff that you want from a lot of your hygiene products, paraben free, cruelty free, dye free, and so you can like throw them in your camping bag, and just like they're individually packaged. You just pull out a wipe, clean up, and you're ready to go again.
Lovely.
So
Well, that's good to know. Cool. Well, I also, as I said, have been using their stuff for a little while now, and the main thing they have is their electric razor, which is called the Lawnmower, currently in its 4.0 edition. I also recently had the 3.0 for the last year and a half or so, and it is a electric razor, fairly small, fits in the grip of your hand pretty well. It's got a couple different attachments to do varying lengths, and the blades are kind of made out of this, like, I don't know, would you call this like plastic? I don't know. It's not a
I
metal
think they're
blade though.
ceramic.
Ceramic, that could be it. That, which sounds weird, but they work quite well, and they really help avoid nicking and messing up your stuff down there. You still got to be careful when you're doing your actual balls, but around the tree works really well. And what's awesome about this razor is that it is waterproof. So you don't need to hang over your toilet with this thing. You can hop in the shower and do it. And also, this new one, well, I guess the other one had this too. It has a light on it, so you can light up and see what the hell you're doing. But what I love about this new one, the 4.0 versus the 3.0, is you can turn the light on and off. Manscaped, thank you, because that annoyed the shit out of me. There were some times where the light just made it harder to use. Being able to turn that on and off is amazing. It's got a nice little charging station it sits in, and we got a nice little bag that it all sits in as well. Nice little leather bag with the Manscaped logo. And we also got the nose trimmer. What was this called, Kyle? I forget.
The weed whacker.
The weed whacker. Has anybody used that? Because I have not yet, so I don't really have any opinions on it.
I have, yes. Yeah, I really like that, especially because like my old one that I used to use was like an attachment for something else. So to kind of have something that was dedicated just for that was
Oh yeah,
you know,
I gotcha.
a lot quieter.
Is
I
that
will say-
waterproof as well? The nose trimmer?
I think so. I haven't used it in the shower, but the stuff like really fits your hands really well. Like really good feel.
Awesome. And yeah, all the other
I would
stuff.
say that the 4. Yeah.
Yeah. All the other stuff, the ball deodorant, the crop reviver, all good stuff, very freshening, smells nice, makes you feel refreshed. I also have the foot duster, which is like a foot deodorant and a cooling deodorant. And there are times on the weekends where my feet get so sweaty that my socks are soaked, and then my feet are freezing because I'm walking around in wet socks. This stuff does the trick, and it's got a nice aroma to it as well. So I highly encourage you, gentlemen, listeners. I know you're out there. Take care of your junk, and your friends and family and girlfriends and wives and significant others or boyfriends will thank you for it. So be sure you do that. And if you go to manscaped.com right now, you can use a discount code. You knew it was coming. You can use the discount code Dragon Greed. That's so Dragon Greed, no S, not Dragon's Greed, just Dragon Greed, and you will get 20% off your purchase. So please go check that out, go give it a shot, and you will thank us, and your balls will thank you as well. Also, they do have some apparel. They've got things like t-shirts and boxer shorts. The t-shirt that we got, super comfy. I actually wore it today. Sean can tell you. I actually saw another human being for the first time since COVID started today.
Yep.
So, t-shirt super comfy. I haven't really used the boxers. Has anybody any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I use them. They're pretty comfy. I don't
Also
have any
very
issues.
comfortable.
So, yeah,
Nice and soft. Yep. Weed whacker is
Wonderful.
waterproof.
nice.
Oh, there you go. So yeah, check it out. Again, that's manscaped.com. Use the promo code DRAGONGREED, all one word, and get yourself 20% off and save your balls and help us show Manscaped that it was worth reaching out to us and giving us some cool stuff. So thank you, Manscaped, and thank you, listeners. And that is all for that. So the long-awaited time is here. Let's get this show on the road. We've got a new cast here. Some returning faces, some new, well, not really any new faces, but depending what you've listened to, we'll do a bunch of character introductions and such. But I am your host, your GM for this adventure, The Great Unclean One, and I will be weaving a new tale as we delve into the grim dark of the 41st millennium. Joining me on this adventure are some Gallows Geists veterans and familiar faces. If you've listened to any of our stuff, you've probably heard these guys in one place or another. We've got Kyle the Redbeard coming back, now our most veteran member. Welcome back, Kyle. He played Egon in Gallows Geist. He joined us about halfway through that campaign, so welcome back, my friend.
Good to be back, man. Playing Egon was a lot of fun. And I am super ready to be an angry, huge green guy. And yeah, I'll be playing a Burnaboy, Grave Scorcher.
Love it. Love it. I'm excited to see how you take to this, being kind of the 40k newbie of the group, but you did pretty well with Warhammer, so no pressure, as they say.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, my hangups, I think, from the fantasy was just learning the system. So I think as soon as I'm starting to pick that up, it takes the pressure off, and I can really get going.
Well, as we saw in session 0, this system's a lot more simple, so I think we'll
Yeah,
be able to
yeah.
get through that a lot faster. Cool. And then joining us, also returning from Gallows Geist, our second most seniority member. He joined us in Chapter 5 as the Witch Hunter Augustus Benedict, and then he made his own character for Chapter 6 in the Wood Elf Athenara. Please welcome back our good friend Eric, all the way from the Lone Star State.
Hey, how you doing? I am coming to this campaign as a commando Laktar.
Excellent. Some sneaky
Very
orc
glad to be
action.
back. Yeah, going from a sneaky wood elf to a sneaky orc. It's kind of apparently that's my thing.
Sensing a pattern.
Let's see if it's an orc thing though. We'll see.
Yeah.
Big, bulky, loud.
Cool. All right. And then our third cast member, also returning from Gallows Geist. He's also been in a bunch of our alien stuff. Hope's Last Day, Destroyer of Worlds, and a couple other episodes here and there. Our good friend Sean, who had taken the part of our NPC Verstolen for Chapter 6. And he's also in our monthly game as our Dwarf Slayer. Alongside Kyle and some of the others. So welcome back, Sean. Glad to have you here at the start this time.
Yeah, it's good to be here at the start. Excited to make a character and play Peppa MD, the Pain Boy.
Oh, it's going to be wonderful. Love it. Excellent.
I'm gonna inject so much 23 flavors of pain into these people. It's gonna be great.
Awesome. And finally, rounding out our crew of misfit Xenos creatures, you heard him in Destroyer of Worlds and a few other alien things, and he actually did partake in Gallows Geist, helping out during the Battle of Nuln. I believe you were a Imperial commander commanding some Empire troops, if I'm not mistaken. Please welcome back Matt the Frog. Also on our monthly Patreon game as Father Horst, the warrior priest of Manan. What's going on, buddy?
Oh, not too much. Happy to be here and in the grim darkness of the 41st millennia. This time I'm going to be playing Dogrog Mog Headhacka, the mech boy.
Wonderful. Excellent. Well, all great orky names, and we're already getting into the spirit of things here. So, let's talk. What the hell is this campaign going to be about? So, as I said, we are playing Wrath and Glory, which is the current RPG for Warhammer 40,000, currently being produced by Cubicle 7. Now, this is the second edition of the game, technically. There was another edition that was released a few years ago by Ulysses Spiel, and when that went away, Cubicle 7 got the rights to it, and they basically updated and cleaned up the game. They didn't make a whole new system. They figured, why make something when there's already something in place? And I can tell you, having played through a full campaign with Sean and our old Matt, who was in our last game, we played through the first edition, and I can tell you, even just from reading the book and building characters, they've cleaned up a lot of the stupidness and things that didn't make sense. So if you played the first edition, you were disappointed. The game itself has not changed much, but they have cleaned it up. They've streamlined it. There's far less errors in the book and things that just don't make sense. The jumping rules have been fixed. But it still is a D6 dice pool system. So the cool thing about Wrath and Glory is you can kind of play whatever you want. The system is designed to kind of take all the great stuff from the old Fantasy Flight line and put all of those into one system. So if you want to be a rogue trader, or you want to do a Death Watch kill team, or be part of an inquisitorial retinue, or as you can see here, we're going to try to do some alien stuff, some Xenos insanity, it's all there for you to do. But you can learn more about the system in our intro episode before this if you haven't heard it already. Suffice to say, our players here are orcs, green-skinned creatures, a Xenos species in the 41st millennium. and, well, we're going to see what happens. So if you want some background on 40K and a little bit more setup, if you're new to this universe, I highly recommend that you listen to our intro episode and our session 0 where we make our characters and just do a quick trial combat. You'll learn more as we play, but if you want some basic background about 40K, that's a good place to start. Because much like Warhammer, it's a game that has decades of lore and stories and games behind it, so there's a lot to cover. So that leads us to, well, what are we doing here and what's going on? So our players are all orcs that are part of a feral tribe. So feral orcs are orcs that really don't have any tech. They are very primitive in their weapons and clothing and armaments. And your tribe was one such tribe. And before we started this, I sent out a questionnaire to the players, much like I did with Gallows Geist, to kind of help build some of the basics of what the tribe and what the story of the campaign was going to be about. So the first thing I asked was, what was the name of the tribe? And this actually surprised me because I came up with a couple different names. I asked for a couple suggestions as well, which I got a few. But we had pretty much a tie for names. Every name got chosen at least once. So I ended up randomizing it, which I think was a great way to start our orc campaign. So the tribe calls themselves Mork's Madboyz, and that is what you will henceforth be known as and what our show will be titled here. So the Mork's Madboyz, you were doing your usual orc stuff until one day a rogue trader's vessel appeared in the orbit of your planet. They made planetfall, and your orc tribe was captured and enslaved and forced to work on the rogue trader's ship. So you are no longer on your home planet, and you have been whisked away to go do what the rogue trader wishes. The next question in our questionnaire was, what was the name of the rogue trader vessel? And it is known as the Vindication. It is a Dauntless class light cruiser, for those of you that might remember that from BFG. And it's a decent-sized starship. It's not a massive cruiser. It's not a battleship or anything like that, but it's not an escort either. It's right in the middle. So indicative of a fairly successful rogue trader who has captured you. And, well, we'll see where that goes. Now, one of the questions I asked after that was, what part of the ship does your tribe of orcs work on? And the winning answer for that was the plasma drive engine room. So, not sure how a bunch of orcs got put in charge of the plasma drive. It's a pretty important part of the ship. But, yeah, that's where you guys pretty much live, and where you're forced to work and eke out your pitiful existence. Now, the next question was, this rogue trader who has enslaved you, does she enslave other alien species, or is it just orcs? And overwhelmingly, I think everybody except one person said, oh, she enslaves other species. So there is quite a diverse mix of creatures on this ship, and each of them work in various sections of the ship, including, but maybe not limited to, Kroot, Tau, Eldar, Ogrins, other humans, and abhumans such as Ratlings, Ogrins, and maybe even a few Beastmen, or squats, as they are called. You guys don't necessarily know this as your characters quite yet, but suffice to say, this rogue trader has a strange thing about enslaving other species, and doesn't really seem to have a particular care about who she captures or enslaves. Which also means she's probably a little bit more on the radical side, because she's willing to deal with so many xeno species. So it's not just you guys that have been ripped away from your lives and forced into this horrible existence. So we'll see what that entails as the campaign goes on. Finally, well, I shouldn't say finally, but next was, what is a special feature of the Rogue Trader ship? I had put a couple different weapons or, compartments, weapon systems and things like that were on the ship. And by far the winning vote here was the Rogue Trader. Her vessel, along with its regular armament, is equipped with boarding torpedoes. Which, for those of you that might remember from BFG or other 40k lore, are basically torpedoes that are small little spacecraft, and they are fired during a naval engagement, and they are loaded up with troops, and should they strike their target, the crew of that little vessel can then enact a boarding action, instead of having to get your ships up close and board in the traditional manner. They also contain minor guidance systems, so the soldiers inside the torpedo can actually try to guide it a little left and right here. So we'll see what happens with that if we get into any naval fights. And then the two last things were a bit more about how the tribe has taken to this new life. And to my surprise, your orc tribe has taken to this new life with a strange enthusiasm, taking pride in your work and really unbothered by being snatched away from your home, and you now have sort of made yourselves an integral part of the crew. The one reason for this is that orcs have a relatively short lifespan, and that's not including with all the fighting and warring and killing that they do. So even without that, orcs generally are not very long-lived creatures. Well, I guess I should say they are, but because of war and all the fighting, lives are usually cut short. Most orcs don't live to be tremendously old, with the exception of someone like Ghazghkull Thraka, the prophet of the orcs, who's been around for a while. But generally speaking, orcs, they don't live very long because of their hectic lifestyles. Because of this, you guys, you don't remember much about your previous lives. Most of you were not even part of the feral tribe, and most of the orcs that are currently on the ship, they've grown up and lived this life since they came into existence. So you know nothing else. This is the only life you know. You don't know about other orcs in the galaxy. You don't know about laws and traditional ways that orcs go about doing things. This is your world, and as far as you're all concerned, the Rogue Trader's the boss, and you do what she says. Generally speaking, your tribe doesn't cause too much trouble for the rest of the ship. You are, contained to your section of the ship. You don't have free reign to walk around or wander about. There are guards who make sure you guys are doing what you need to do, but generally there's not too much ruckus. There's a few orcs here and there that do that, but for the most part, you guys do what you're told, and occasionally you're let out to fight something that the Rogue Trader needs dead. And that lets the orcs all have a good proper scrap, which is good enough for most of you. You get what you can, bring it back, and you kind of have like a little shanty town that's sprouted up around the plasma drive where you guys currently live. Finally, those of you that might not be too familiar with orcs, traditionally their history is brought through the generations by runt-herdas, which are orcs that generally herd the Gretchen, the Grots, the goblins, and the snotlings of the tribe. But they also act as like storytellers and wise men and tell legends. And after so many decades being on the Rogue Trader's crew, the truth and origins of your tribe have become shrouded in mystery and distorted by these stories. And at this point, the general mindset of your tribe and the general history is that the past is irrelevant. No one knows or remembers how the tribe got here. But what does matter is that a prophecy foretells that one day a great orc will arise from your tribe and lead you to the biggest scraps and the best fights that you could ever imagine. This is the commonly held belief that most of your tribe has, and this is the most common story that is told by the Runt Herdas when new orcs are brought into the fold. Finally, I asked the players what type of enemies and things they wanted to do in this campaign, which of course we'll keep secret here, but suffice to say, we will have a good mix like we did in Gallows Geists. We're certainly not going to hit everything that the 41st Millennium has to offer, because just like with Warhammer, that's far too much, but there will be a good mixture of things here for you to enjoy. So, with that being said, any questions, players, before we go any further?
Nope, I'm good.
No, sir.
All right. Well, then, what I would like is for each of you to give us a description of your character for our other players and the crew, and of course our listeners, and tell them a little bit about what your orc does in the tribe, especially for those of us that may not be familiar with what the hell a pain boy or a mech boy is. Let our listeners know. And listeners, I guess a quick disclaimer warning here, if you haven't picked up on it already. This is going to be a far more lighthearted game than Gallows Geists was. Although we are in the 41st Millennium, and one could argue it's a far worse place to be than the Warhammer world, orcs are often the comic relief of 40k. They love to fight, they love to do crazy, goofy shit, and we're going to try to encapsulate that here and make a campaign out of it. I don't know what the hell's going to happen. I don't know where this is going to end up. I don't even know if it's really gonna work, but we're gonna give it the old college try, and we're gonna put our pedal to the metal here in a minute. So we'll go by seniority here. So we'll start with Kyle, and then we'll go to Eric and Sean, and finally Matt. Go ahead and tell us who you are, and a little bit about your character and what they do. What's their shtick?
Okay. Yeah. Sorry, it's Kyle again. I will be playing an orc burnaboy named Grave Scorcher. And Grave Scorcher is a really big, muscly green dude, hunched over, carrying a very improvised and very shitty flamethrower, basically. He's got a couple of tanks on his back. Burnaboys like fire. They want everything to be on fire. And that is going to be a large part of my goal in this campaign. Everything needs to be on fire.
Hashtag life goals, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't blame you. You're not wrong.
But yeah,
Awesome.
that's his shtick. I'm assuming he helps clean up around the house.
Wonderful. And what clan of orcs is Grave Scorcher considered part of?
Oh, I think we did the Death Skulls.
Excellent. So Death Skulls are the scavengers, the schemers that like to steal and loot and basically scrounge up whatever they can. They're known to hoard lots of stuff. They love to trade and customize their war gear more frequently than the other clans. And they love the color blue. If you see an orc with blue war paint, he's probably a Death Skull. And I believe that gives you some sort of bonus on your character, Kyle, if I recall. Oh yeah, here it is. You get plus rank bonus to tech and influence tests. Makes sense. Wonderful.
Yeah, so that will come in handy for the flamethrower.
Hell yeah. All right. Anything else we should know about Grave Scorcher?
No, everything on fire, please.
Okay. Next.
Next is Eric playing Loktar, the Commando. Commando Commando is kind of like the sneaky orcs, kind of like scouts, scouting positions, going behind enemy lines. Stuff you wouldn't necessarily think of when you think of orc. You think of an orc being, kind of in your face, and this one's kind of sneaky git.
Yeah,
He
traditionally, commandos are often looked at a little weird by the rest of the tribe because, yeah, most orcs, when they see someone sneaking around, they think they're being cowardly, whereas the commandos usually see it as just a different way to fight. And it's kind of funny if you can sneak up on somebody and stab them in the back and they didn't know you were there. And many war bosses, at least successful war bosses, realize that commandos bring something vital that their orc horde is usually lacking. So they can sometimes be important members of the tribe too, because they have skills that most other orcs just can't wrap their tiny little brains around.
Which is why he also fits into the Blood Axe tribe.
Oh, yes. So, Blood Axes, another one of the great clans of the orcs. They're usually considered unorky by most other greenskins because they use untraditional things like tactics, strategy, and planning when they fight. They are also, for you lore buffs out there, they are the first orcs that have ever made contact with the Imperium, and they're even known to trade with other species, including humans, to get war gear and things they normally wouldn't get access to, which they inevitably turn on their, former traders. But that's all the more fun in Orky. So looks like that gives you a bonus to leadership and stealth tests. So obviously very helpful if you want to be a sneaky git, like you said.
That's right. So I'm going to be collecting gear.
Wonderful. All right, Sean.
Yeah, I'm going to be playing the Orc Painboy Peppa MD. Painboys are like doctors for orcs, and so normally he trolls around the shanty town looking for any orc who may or may not be unconscious, drags them away to make sure that they're healthy. He would have like one of those a large metal plate sort of bolted onto his forehead, like you would normally see a doctor, but it's just bolted into his forehead.
Wonderful. And what tribe or what clan is he from?
I think I went Bad Moons? Yeah, Bad Moons.
Ooh, a Bad Moon Doc. Okay. So Bad Moons are often known as the richest of the orcs because in orc society, they have made a crude but actually quite effective means of currency, which is they use their teeth, referred to as teeth, for their money. And because orcs' teeth continually grow, and when they lose teeth, new ones grow. So even the most poor orc will always have a steady income. The reason that Bad Moons are considered rich compared to the other tribes is because their teeth grow faster than any of the other orcs, and thus they are the wealthiest. However, something to point out, orc teeth basically disintegrate after a little bit of time. So it is impossible for an orc to hoard a tremendous amount of wealth for extended periods of time. Another reason why their economy strangely works better, or at least equal to other societies out there. And other orcs, they don't really see this as a disadvantage because if they want, they can just go punch that orc in the face and steal his teeth. So it's all fair when you're a greenskin. Looks like that gives you a bonus wealth the end of every session. Oh, wow.
Gonna be rolling in it.
That's pretty good, yeah. Huh, okay. All right, and finally, Matt.
Yeah. I'm here, Dogrog Mug Headhacka, who is a mech boy, kind of a gearhead in the group. Is pretty stoked to be on the ship and working with the engine. Has sort of taken an affinity to helping out with maintenance and trying to, you know, make things work better, but also scrape some parts out for his own personal tinkering and experiments, and basically just trying to cause large explosions mostly. Um, and yeah, I think that's pretty much his jam at the moment.
And what clan is he from?
He is also Death Skulls.
Okay, so we don't have any snake bites and we don't have any goths. That's okay. So, there are a few other NPCs you should know about. The first is the biggest orc in the tribe, who goes by the name of Iron Jaws. He is a knob who dwarfs most of the other orcs, and if he continues on his path, he may very well one day be a war boss. When he is let loose upon the rogue trader's enemies, he wears heavy armor. It's not the infamous mega armor that orcs have, but it is some just massive heavy plates that are strapped and bolted to him, and he does have one of the feared power claws to just crush anything in his path. He's earned the nickname Iron Jaws because he has a massive iron gob strapped to his chin, which is a replacement from an injury that he suffered, where he basically lost the bottom half of his head. His entire mandible and jaw was destroyed, and he has an augmetic of an actual iron gob, which makes him even more intimidating and tough looking. He also, the power claw arm is an augmetic arm. That arm was also messed up in a battle, and he lost most of that arm, and it's been replaced with an augmetic. And the power claw he can attach and detach with a regular hand as well, in case he actually needs to have two hands for something. So he is the big nasty. He's a foul-tempered, very aggressive orc. He is a goth, so he loves to fight. He loves to get in the thick of combat, and he is often seen bossing all the other orcs around, regardless of who they are or what they do in the tribe. Many orcs fear and or despise him because of his attitude, but he really doesn't give two fucks about that. Second is a orc weird boy by the name of Shornscar. Weird boys are basically orc shamans, and they are psychers in the 40k universe, so they have access to psychic powers. In layman's terms, they are space wizards, basically. And he is a pretty big orc as well, slabs of muscle and just gnarled skin, but his crazy psychic powers have basically burned through most of the top of his head and skull, actually exposing parts of his brain, especially when he activates these psychic powers. He is often kept on a fairly tight leash, because obviously the rogue trader doesn't want psychic powers running amok near the plasma drive. So you guys know that he often has some sort of collar that is placed on him to keep his psychic powers in check. He's kind of like a strange father figure to much of the tribe. He is kind of like a wise man in some regards, and he often tells old stories about the tribe like some of the runt herders do. And he is the biggest proponent that there is going to be a boy that will be this prophecy fulfiller and lead the tribe to glorious battles, and sometimes even thinks freedom. And finally, what orc gang would be complete without a Gretchen? And there are many Grots amongst the tribe, as any good orc tribe has. But there's one in particular who often hangs around you guys. Some think he's kind of the de facto leader of the Grots. Others just think that he's kind of figured out a way to get on most of the orcs' good side and made himself useful. He is a Gretchen by the name of Zingitz, and he is, like all his brethren, very inquisitive, very curious, always getting into places he shouldn't, and taking things that aren't his. But he's also a tech head, and can often be found assisting Head Hacka and some of the other mechs in various things. In particular, he loves to tinker with anything electronic, and he has a pair of basically walkie-talkies that he's always using and trying to tweak and mess with you guys and cause all sorts of goofy pranks with. And as you can see, he often has good old goggles to keep his eyes safe from all the crazy shit he does. Those are some of the important members of the tribe. Obviously, there are more. Your tribe has, at this point, several hundred, if not a couple thousand orcs. Because this starship, again, not that your characters know this, but to give our players a scale here, the Vindication is about 4.5 kilometers long. It is approximately has a mass of 20 megatons, and it has a crew of roughly 65,000 people. As all things in 40K, they are massive beyond compare. And this is a profile of what the ship looks like. Again, it is a Dauntless class light cruiser. You can see the torpedo tubes on the front prow, and then along the side it has massive macro batteries, which are your typical space cannons. It's also got a few turrets on the top to shoot down any incoming craft as well. Just to give you an idea of what that is like. Now, a few things before we get started. There are a few other things we need to finalize about your ship here that I need your guys' help with. So first and foremost, we have, let me find it. So for our listeners, I have basically converted some of the old rules from Rogue Trader for starships into Wrath and Glory. I've never really done this before with an RPG. I know there's a lot of GMs out there that love to tinker and customize and mess with systems. I try to keep things roughly the way they are, only make house rules when really needed, with like Advantage, for example, in Warhammer. But there are no rules for starships in Wrath and Glory yet, much to many of our dismays. And there's probably a good chance, flying around on a Rogue Trader ship, that you guys are going to have space combat at some point. So we need rules for that. So we'll get to that later, if and when it comes up. But suffice to say, I've converted most of the rules for starships from Rogue Trader into something more compatible with Wrath and Glory. And one of the things is you actually get to build your own starship in Rogue Trader. You pick a hull, and then you fill the hull with various components, which take up your space and power that your ship provides until it's full. And one of the things about Rogue Trader is upgrading your ship to get cooler and better gear and components, such as the bridge, the weapon systems, the life support, so on and so forth. So I've already generated most of that for the ship, but there are a few things I want you guys to do as well. So this Rogue Trader, who we will introduce shortly, is a rather successful one. She has a decent-sized ship, which many Rogue Traders do not have something that is quite this good. And she's been around for a while, and, well, I need to know what type of special things are on this ship. So I would like somebody to please roll me a D12. And we're going to see what kind of archaeotech this ship has on it. And then let me get my Rogue Trader rulebook here so we can follow along at home. That is a weird looking dice. Holy crap. All right, what do we got? A 6? Oh, 9. Okay.
9.
All right, Sean. So let me pull up the Archaeotech here. And what do we have? 6A. Did I not write this down? No, I did not. Of course. All right, 1 second. Your ship has something called a ghost field.
Oh.
A wondrous and terrible mechanism used on the ships of the I can't pronounce it. Enigmatic? I can't
Enigmatic.
speak. That's it.
Yeah.
Enigmatic. I'm sorry. A wondrous and terrible mechanism used on the ships of the enigmatic Eldar. To possess it is to invite damnation, but even crudely and imperfectly installed aboard a ship, where'd my mouse go? The ghost field's power creates phantoms of its ship to confound enemy augur arrays. All ships firing at a ship with a functional ghost field suffer a -2 to their ballistic skill tests, or in this case that'd be a +2 DN, so it makes it harder. If the ship is firing a lance weapon, this is increased to -3. Any piloting tests to perform hit-and-run attacks also suffer a -3. However, they have an energetic interference. A ship with a ghost field must choose whether it is using its void shields or ghost field at the beginning of each combat. Well, that's pretty cool. So clearly your rogue trader has been, she's got her hands on some cool stuff. And then finally, I would like each of the rest of you who are not Sean to please roll, and we're going to see what extra facilities you guys have beyond the basics. You know, all ships have a Geller field, a warp drive, a bridge, so on and so forth. There's a couple other things that you might have too. So please roll me a D3, because these are broken into different categories, then we'll roll on that. So Kyle, if you want to start us off here.
Was it /R?
You can just click the pictures underneath the chat log.
Is there a D3 down there?
Just hit a D6, and then 1, 2 is a 1, 3, 4 is a 2, 5, 6 is a 3.
Okay.
That's how you do it in tabletop. That is a 3. So that is going to be under the additional facilities category. If you will please then roll me a D20.
Okay.
And re-roll if you get above a 16. A 1. Extended supply vaults. Okay, let's see what that does. Probably for holding sweet loot would be my guess. What is this under again? Hold on. Extensive supply stowage allows the vessel to make longer journeys and better repair damage. Double the time a ship may remain at void without suffering crew population or morale loss. When making extended repairs, repair 1 additional point of hull integrity. However, because there's so much stuff to go around, the morale of the ship is permanently increased by 1. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. You're slaves, but you're well-fed and well-supplied slaves. Okay, let me write that down on my ship log here. Extended supply vaults. All right. Next. Someone else roll me a D6, please.
Oh. My bad.
Okay, just roll the D6 in the bottom.
I clicked the shooter gun.
Another 3. Okay, roll me a D20 again.
I rolled every D6.
A 2.
Move on up to 2.
Crew reclamation facility. The Mechanicus has no qualms about converting the grievously wounded into servitors, but the rest of the crew may differ in opinion. Reduce all losses of crew population by 3. to a minimum of 1, but increase all losses to morale by 1 as your wounded and dying are turned into mindless servitors. All right. Well, that's fun. Very grimdark.
Creepy.
And yeah, very creepy. And finally, Eric, what is our last component on the ship? Give it some spice. Oh, we have a cargo hold. Roll me another d6.
Not too good start.
Compartmentalized cargo hold. Let's see what that is. Cargo holds have been installed across the ship, spread out to minimize their effect on the vessel's handling. So you guys have a larger storage area. Now, this affected achievement points in Rogue Trader when working towards a trade objective. So I'll have to figure out what that's going to mean in this game. But suffice to say, you got plenty of space to store the loot, which is probably going to be good. All right. Cool. Well, we will get into more about what the Vindication actually has on it as the campaign goes. But suffice to say, you guys have an interesting vessel, to say the least. So, why don't we take our break here, and then we can dive into the meat and potatoes of this campaign. Get some of that
Sounds good.
sweet Dr. Pepper.
That was good.
Bareback.
BRB.
Kyle, to answer your question, that is the big guy's name, is Iron Jaws. If he had a name before that, none of you know it. He's older than all of your characters, so he's been here since you guys came into existence. And as far as you know, that's his name, Iron Jaws. And yes, Shorn Scar is the weird boy.
Okay.
I'll put that in chat for you guys. And Zingitz is the Grot. Matt, did you need a like a journal entry like we have in Warhammer to keep notes, or are you good with using your character sheet? I mean, whatever easier for you.
Oh yeah, I guess I could just throw it in notes there.
'Cause I can. It's up to you. If you want me to give you a journal, I can. If that's easier.
That might be cool.
Okay, hold on.
I have a text document open in a different window that I'm throwing notes into.
Nice,
Okay.
nice.
Let me make I'll make a new folder that says quest logs. And let's make it red, because red ones go faster.
Yeah.
Whoops. That didn't work. Oh, it would help if I spelled it right, too. Quest logs. My favorite. Any other questions about anything I've discussed so far?
No,
Nope.
I think I'm playing.
Okay. So, where the fuck are we as we get back? Well, the group of you being part of this orc tribe which has been enslaved, your daily life consists of the maintenance of the plasma drive, which you're not sure, again, why you guys work here and nowhere else in the ship. You don't really know what any of the else of the ship looks like other than the hallways you've been brought through to get to landing pads and things like that, or shuttles to be brought down to the surface when you're occasionally unleashed. However, the plasma drive room, which is ginormous, as you would expect in 40K, has definitely taken on the look of an orc society. You guys have set up ramshackle huts and hovels throughout, turning this chamber into a strange amalgamation of Imperial and Orc appearance. Despite that, and despite the ramshackle nature of your living abode, you guys still keep the plasma drive running well and operational. Mostly, it is led by the big mech of the tribe, who's, I realize I don't have in here, so I don't have his name. Sorry, I'll get that for you next week. And then, of course, other mechs like our good friend Headhacka here and a few others. And instinctively, like all orcs that feel the calling of whatever their job is, They somehow know how this strange, large, gigantic thing works and how to keep it operational. What the rogue trader may or may not think of what you've done to the place, you're unsure. You have only really ever seen her once. And I will share her image with you in a moment here. You know the rogue trader's name is what is it? Hold on. Amelita Casadora. I'll put that in chat here for you as well. Of the Casadora Rogue Trader dynasty. She is a tall, striking woman who wears very fine clothes that denote that she is indeed the captain of this ship. She has an augmetic arm similar to Iron Jaws. However, hers is much more finesse and finely made. Probably some of the best that money could create. She often wears a veil over her eyes, so you don't actually see part of her face. Her hair is done up in strange braids that are a bit reminiscent of like old colonial times, and matches some of that you'd see in imperial aristocracy. And she carries an assortment of trinkets on her, including a strange pistol of unknown design, and her primary weapon is some sort of energy whip that she uses. You guys have never seen her in combat, though, but this is what she looks like.
Okay, that's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
You do know that she has an inner circle of her high-ranking officers and officials that help her control the ship, and not that your characters might necessarily know this, but again, they would be the crew that often get involved in the really important stuff, and usually the offshore party when she has to send someone to do something. These include a commissar by the name of Victoria Blaze. She is a stern woman with kind of sandy blonde hair. She has a nasty scar going from about her right cheek down the side of her face past her jawline. And she wears the typical black trench coat with the fancy shoulder pads and red-lined interior of a commissar. Looks every part that of a soldier or an officer, usually meticulously kept and quite clean. And she does also have the classic commissar officer hat. You don't see that here in the photo. And at her side at all times is a bolt pistol, which in her small feminine hands looks somewhat comical because the thing is so damn big. But she knows how to use it and can handle it quite well. Often you see that she sports a dark red power fist on her other hand, which she also can use to great effect. She is kind of one of Casadora's second-in-commands, and obviously is in charge of keeping the crew in check. Occasionally, you have seen Commissar Blaze stalking the halls with a few guards, making sure that everything is in order. And on the very rare occasions that a problem or a fight has broken out that wasn't resolved quickly, the Commissar is known to end things with a quick round of her bolt gun. She has executed several orcs in your time here, much to the laughter and amusement of most of the tribe when they see that the orcs are misbehaving, and rather than listen, they end up with a bolt to the back of the head, and then they're not a problem anymore. And this doesn't really seem to bother much of the tribe, as violence is a typical thing in the life of an orc, and often one to be laughed at, especially when it's at the expense of another orc. Also part of the inner circle, and one might consider another second-in-command, is a tech priest of the Adeptus Mechanicus known as Tech Priest Octarius. Octarius is a wonder to many of the orcs, especially the Madboyz, because he appears to be almost completely cybernetic and mechanical. He is a typical that he wears the red robes of Mars to indicate where he is probably from. He is from the Mars Forge world. He has a kind of skull visage for the lower part of his face, kind of like Immortan Joe in Mad Max, some sort of rebreather device with pipes and cords. And the top part of that covers his skull and his face. You can't see any flesh on this man, if he can even still be considered a man, with all sorts of optics that glow green and flash strange lights. The other unique thing about him is he actually has a set of extra arms. So he has 4 arms, 2 like a normal man and 2 below that, which allow him to accomplish a variety of tasks. And he also has the classic Adeptus Mechanicus mechatendrites, which are the weird mechanical tentacle things that many tech priests have either strapped or attached to them on the back in some way, shape, or form. He also has a suit of some sort of strange-looking power armor, so that this man is pretty much encased in metal. The mechatendrites one of them appears to be a servo arm for repairing and helping him with mechanical things, and the other appears to be a gun mechatendrite that has some sort of weapon attached at the end. And he is the most bizarre and inhuman looking of the crew by far. Next is the ship's navigator. No ship in the Imperium is complete without a navigator to help traverse the warp when you go through warp travel, and this ship is no exception. This is probably a guy that you've never seen, because the navigator typically sticks where he needs to be to help guide the ship when it's traveling, and it can be risky to send them on shore, or shore leave, or let them go on a mission that's off the ship, because they are so valuable. Navigators in 40k are kind of a controlled mutation that the Imperium needs, because without their abilities to pierce the warp and find the guiding light of the Astronomicon, warp travel would be impossible. So sending them out on missions, despite their tremendous psychic power, can be risky because they are very irreplaceable. Much like the Rogue Trader dynasties, there are many houses of navigators, most of them stationed on Terra, where the navigators are trained and then sent out and assigned to various ships. And your navigator is an aging man by the name of Krotar Vischer of House Vischer. He is old, although still a bit robust, clean-shaven, with a small little, I forget what they call this kind of beard style, but it's just a little strap, a little strip of beard right below his lower lip. And like all navigators, he has the mutation of a third large eye in the center of his forehead, which supposedly is how they're able to pierce the rolling tides of the warp and pierce and find the Astronomicon. He often is aided by the help of a walking stick with an Imperial skull at the pommel or at the top, and he is always wearing his robes that denote that he is a navigator, adorned with sigils of the Imperium and his navigator house. I'll put his name in chat here since it's kind of a weird one.
Ooh, not enough S's in my guess. That's pretty close, though.
It's also worth noting that House Vischer is known for primarily working with some of the larger and more successful Rogue Trader dynasties, to the point where they almost exclusively just send out their scions to help the Rogue Traders. So there's clearly some sort of alliance or deal between his house and Casadora's Rogue Trader dynasty. Next, the last of her human companions is her personal sanctioned psyker, a woman by the name of Regina Cartren. And she is, you're guessing, either had served in the Imperial Guard, the Astra Militarum, or perhaps the Inquisition, based on her attire. She has the typical kind of flak jacket, trench coat style apparel that many sanctioned psychers wear, but she has iconography that might indicate that she belonged or maybe is part of the Inquisition from some point or another. She is a fairly normal-looking human. She doesn't have anything really remarkable about her unless she unleashes her powers, with about just past shoulder-length dark hair. But other than that, not a very remarkable woman. If she was not wearing her attire, you probably would not be able to pick her out from anyone else in the crew. And finally, making up the Rogue Trader's inner circle is an Eldari, an Eldar warrior by the name of Imlorian Malahan. Put that in here for you too. Not many people on the crew know what Imlorian's story is. Not many know how he's come to be in Casadora's employ. But it is suffice to say that he is a helpful warrior, often acting as a scout and tracker and kind of forward observer for her group. Like all Eldari, he is very agile, very quick and light on his feet. He wears typical kind of like Guardian style armor. He is actually a Corsair, though, so he's kind of like an Eldar pirate, at least how the game would describe that. And he has a strange rifle of some sort that he uses for a weapon, along with an Eldar saber of some sort. Also something the orcs would probably be keen to get their hands on because it's such cool-looking tech. Like many Eldar, his armor is adorned in spirit stones. What significance these may hold to him, though, no one except maybe Casadora knows. His armor is a bit of a darker green with highlights of white, maybe indicating a craft world that he once called home. And he has two back banners sprouting from his backpack, which is actually like a sort of Eldar jetpack that denotes some Eldar symbols of perhaps his gods or showing his allegiance. And that is the crew that makes up the Rogue Trader's inner circle, the people that you need to know about for now. Now, as all Rogue Trader crews are wont to do, Casadora's ship, the Vindication, has been out in the abyss, sailing, spanning the stars, pushing the boundaries of the Imperium, and trying to seek fame and fortune. She's apparently done quite well at this thus far. She's a bit of an iron-handed woman, considering that she has no problem taking slaves, but she's also unique or a little eccentric in the fact that she deals with Xenos a lot more than even most Rogue Traders do. She clearly has no qualms about using alien tech or Xenos forces to accomplish her goals. Now, your ship has arrived in a star system called the Virgo system, and it is here that our adventure will begin. Again, while most of this information might not be privy to your characters, to help set the scene and let you know what's going on, I think it's worth discussing. What you know is that the tech priest Octarius has come across rumors of a planet in this system that supposedly has ruins of archaeotech. Archaeotech being a general term that the Imperium would use for any sort of cache of old lost technology from the millennia before the Horus Heresy, and perhaps even before during the Great Crusade, during the Lost Age of Technology or the Dark Age of Technology, the Age of Strife, all these various periods throughout Imperial history. And it is often something the Imperium as a whole and the Adeptus Mechanicus in particular want to get their hands on, for, as you may or may not know, the 41st millennium is a place of stagnation. Innovation and technology, new technology coming out, is rare and often viewed with suspicion or deemed outright heretical. Most technology in the 41st millennium is barely understood relics of a long-lost age that are tended to by the tech priests and mostly kept running, but never really truly or fully understood. Finding these old pieces of technology often can fill in gaps and voids of the Imperium's arsenal, or bring other technology that they just don't have, or to help them replace things that are failing. The most important and coveted of these is the STC, the Standard Template Construct, which, while nebulous in some descriptions, is basically a device way back in the early ages of humanity that supposedly would have a database and a collection of all known human technology. The idea being that a new colony set up on a far-flung planet would have one of these devices, and it would be able to provide and produce, or give instructions on how to produce anything from whatever materials colonists had available. Now, these STCs are long gone, and finding one, even in remotely working order, is next to impossible, and considered probably the pinnacle of any sort of archaeological find. The holy grail of this would be finding an intact STC that still fully operates, which would probably propel humanity and the Imperium leaps and bounds forward. Despite that, they are still sought after, and one of the most highly sought after thing in 40K when it comes to tech, especially from the eyes of the Imperium. Some examples of things that were part of the STC were such famous vehicles as the Rhino armored carriers, Land Raider battle tanks, and the infamous Baneblade super heavy tanks, along with various other parts of technology. Whatever Octarius has heard rumor of, and however he has gotten rumor of this, he has convinced Cassadora that it is worth going to the Virgo system to find and search for. And it is here that your ship drops out of the warp, and you are in orbit above a planet known as... Make sure I'm giving you the right one here. You are in orbit above a planet known as Charcion, and it apparently has a small moon called Capra. When your ship arrives in orbit, ultimately, your group is requested, well, I shouldn't say requested, is going to be ordered to make planetfall and try to find some of these... Wait a minute. Hold on. Sorry. Misread my notes. Let me back up a second here. Sorry, I got a lot of notes here to start us off with. Okay, no, I'm sorry. I am correct. I'm just overthinking this, as I always do. So, you are here in the orbit of Charcion and the moon Capra, and it is believed, the rumor indicates, that Capra is the site of this archaeotech that you guys are looking for. So, your group is going to be sent planetside to try to find said archaeotech and secure it for the rogue trader. So eventually word of this is brought to you, and you're told to assemble your crew, and it looks like they might send a couple other orcs down with you guys. And it is the commissar and the tech priest, along with a few guards, who enter your plasma drive massive chamber, and they would speak with Iron Jaws and probably Shornscar. So the group of you see this. It is not often that they make an entrance like this, but when it is, usually means you guys are at a destination about to be given some sort of task. So wherever the four of you are, you would probably see Commissar Blaze marching towards to find where either Iron Jaws or Shornscar are at. What do each of you do when you see this conversation begin?
Peppa MD would try to just keep an eye on it, but kind of skulk around in the background, just observing the other orcs.
Okay. Are you on the lookout for anything in particular?
Anyone he can chop up and do some tests on.
All right. Give me an awareness test, please.
All right, boys, first roll of the campaign.
And unless I say otherwise, the DN of tests is normally 3. So you need at least 3 successes to pass. But that can change if I tell you so. But just assume, unless I tell you, it's always going to be DN3.
DN3. Got it.
What the fuck? Those are some dice, huh?
Yeah, some crazy dice. 4 successes. But a wrath complication.
Complication. Okay, if you want to go ahead and roll your complication there. Let's see what it tells us. Okay. So, Sean, you are skulking about, not really paying much attention to the commissar. It probably doesn't interest you right now. And you see that there is an orc who is either asleep or passed out in like a dark shadow of all sorts of machinery, as this place is just a twisting mass of pipes and tech and panels and things of that nature. So lots of little nooks and crannies, but you do find a potential patient, if you will.
Right.
What do you do?
Well, I guess I will, do I have sedatives? Can I sedate him?
I would imagine you have something like that, sure. Yeah, you fill up the old Erdy syringe and go to town?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. As you do, you notice a group of grots. It looks like there's a group of grots chasing another one. The one they're chasing is carrying a large gear of some sort, clearly stolen from some piece of machinery, and the other grots clearly want that. As they do, they chase and scuttle up some of this piping, and you see that they corner the one grot who has the gear, and as he's looking for a place to escape to, the last grot that's chasing him hops up on one of these pipes, and their combined weight causes the pipe to start to come apart. And as it collapses, grots go spilling everywhere, bumping off of various machinery. And just as you're about to place the sedative and claim your patient, the pipe lands with a loud, audible clang echoing through the chamber, crushing this orc's head and killing him instantly.
I could fix it.
Okay, so you take the headless orc back to your practice.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, you start dragging this orc off, and one of the Gretchen starts looting through the orc's body as you're dragging him off, like checking his pockets and stuff. And you see that another one runs over and starts pushing the bottom of his feet as if he's trying to help you. He doesn't really seem to be doing anything because he's so tiny, but he's giving it the old college try.
It's the thought that counts. He'll be my assistant for what comes next.
Meanwhile, Eric, what are you up to?
So I'm gonna use the distraction of that falling pipe to kind of like see if I can get closer to hear the conversation.
All right, give me a whatever it's called. Is it stealth in this game? Stealth.
Okay.
And you can have a bonus of +1 from the commotion.
Okay. And the bonus goes in the dice pool, right?
Yes,
Not in the DN.
correct. DN makes your test harder. Oops, sorry, I'm not supposed to be doing that. Okay. What do we got here?
6 successes.
Okay. Oh, I should say, just so everybody knows, at the start of every session, you start with 2 wrath, and your glory pool starts at 0. And I start with some ruin. I'll check how much it is. I think it's number of players. Yeah, number of players. So I start with 4 points of ruin, which is my meta currency. So, Eric, in this case, you have enough successes where you can shift that 6 and get something else out of it. So you need 3 successes. You have a total of 4, 5, 6. So what you can do is you can left click on that 6, and it doesn't matter because there's no you left click on the 6 to highlight it, and then right click on it, and you can do shift. So in this case, you can shift to make your test better in some way, or you can shift to get a point of glory added to the pool. Glory is a group currency that everyone has access to.
Okay, I'll put it in the glory.
All right, so once you have it highlighted, shift, and then glory went up by 1. So at any point, someone can use a point of glory to add an extra die to a test they are making. You can also use it to add a extra dice of damage to an attack, or to seize the initiative, which means you go first in a combat, or you can use it to increase the severity of a critical hit. And every critical hit will tell you what doing that does. So, okay. Well, you take easy advantage of that distraction, and you find you sneak closer. Doesn't seem like any of them notice you, or if they do, they're not giving you any heed, and you'll be able to overhear that conversation in a moment. Matt, what are you up to?
Well, terrible at sneaking, but I do see the tech priest and kind of want to know what he's up to. I think I'm just gonna sort of try to walk up and hope that they'll let me in on what's going on.
You know that generally speaking, as long as none of the orcs get too close to any of the personnel, they usually don't interrupt what you guys are doing. But if anybody kind of breaks their personal space, it's made very clear and very quickly, like, to back off. And you know that if those orders aren't followed, like, within a few seconds, they will usually start beating the fuck out of somebody or just shoot them and kill them. So it doesn't happen very often at this point. It's a strict. If there was an outside person viewing this in the Imperium, it would be very strange to see kind of how casual things are between the orcs and the human crew. But it's been made very well known what happens if you don't listen to what you're supposed to be doing. So you can see a couple orcs are already kind of gathering around where the commissar is standing, and her guards are on, they're on alert to make sure no funny business is going on. And you see that she's currently, she's found Shornscar, and it looks like she's beginning to speak with him. So you're able to get up there, and there's no, as long as you don't do anything out of the ordinary. If you're just listening, she doesn't seem to care.
Yeah, I'll just hang around in the vicinity.
Okay. Eyeing up the delicious tech priest.
Pretty much.
And finally, Kyle. What's Grave Scorcher up to?
Well, Grave Scorcher was just kind of idly staring out in the distance before that bang of the pipe happened. And then he looked over and noticed that the lady and the metal man were there. And whenever the metal man shows up, that means he gets to burn shit. So he grabs his helmet, puts his on, starts polishing his gun.
Okay. Are you just sitting there? You're not going to go see what they're talking about? You're just going to wait to find out later?
He's polishing the flamethrower, but he'll start making his way over. Because that means he gets to burn things quicker.
All right. Well, the three of you, other than Peppa, begin to get your way over there or find a sneaky place to hide, and you begin to listen. And the commissar begins to speak, mostly to Shornscar. Occasionally she looks at one of the other orcs, but for the most part she pays them no heed. And you see she's got her hands behind her back as she's marching forward. And you do see she does have her power fist on her right arm. You can see the outline of the gun on her hip, on her holster. And she says, "Shaman," and he just kind of gives a gruff nod. And she says, "We have more work for you. I need you to gather a group, get them ready to send down. We're searching for some ruins. Anything down there of value? Casadora would like you to find it. Understood?" And he just kind of shakes his head. You know that often he's kind of slow to speak and very contemplative, and he doesn't seem in any hurry. But he shakes his head and kind of scratches at the collar around his neck. He says, "Sure thing. How many yous need?" And she says, "Just a few. Can you manage that?" And he just shakes his head, or nods his head. She says, "Good. We'll be back soon. Make sure they're ready." And as she turns on her heel, she kind of looks over you, Head Hacka, and then she can see Grave Scorcher coming up behind you, and then she just turns around and they march out. Eventually, Shornscar, begins to gather you guys, and without much information, gathers you guys together, tells you, you're going down there, so get some things together and get ready. Does anybody ask him anything or do anything, or just get prepared to depart?
I think I'll definitely get excitedly prepared. But before I go, I guess I'll ask, did the Pickman say anything?
Shornscar just shakes his head. Nope.
Wonder if he still has a mouth.
Chris, is there any kind of tiny? Well, I guess like a Gretchen would be one. Grave Scorcher wants to make sure his burner's gonna burn.
Mm-hmm.
So he'll probably want to test it out on something small.
Okay. I'm just checking my notes here. I just want to make sure I have everything correct. So, your weapons, you guys don't normally have access to them freely. I mean, they,
Okay.
It's not, obviously they don't trust you guys completely, and when you're not on mission, your gear, any of your like weapon gear is locked up. Any tools or things like that they let you have, and obviously it's kind of like a prison lifestyle where clearly you've made like shivs and shanks and things like that. So Peppa, like your doc's tools are all there, but any guns or firearms and like your big sets of armor, that's, you know, the power claw and all that stuff is locked away, and they give that to you as you like get on the shuttle, basically.
Gotcha.
So you wouldn't have that now, but you certainly could bring a grot along later to test it on.
Okay, that, and also maybe just in excitement he could pop one's head off.
That's gonna require a strength test, because
Hooray.
you know the grot wants to keep his head.
Yeah.
I think that's fair to say.
Sure.
Let me find the stats of a grot, and okay, we're just gonna dive right into this, huh? Okay.
Starting off with murder, boys.
Yep. Just gonna rip this dude's head off. Okay. Well, here's the grot you find. Give me an athletics test. This is gonna be opposed, so it's just most successes to see if you can catch one.
All right, athletics.
Yep.
And a D and a 3, you said.
No, it's opposed, so there is. I mean, just leave the DN. It's just you have to have more successes than he does.
Oh, okay.
I should have rolled that privately, but he has 2. You
I have none.
0. And you have a complication. Go ahead and roll me the
Oh
complication.
my gosh.
Best roll ever. The Chaos Gods are watching. For a moment, you feel the eyes of one of the ruinous powers on you. They frighten you, learn one of your secrets, or cause a supernatural mishap. Okay, well, I don't think that's going to really apply here. So Grave Scorcher, you go to grab this grot, and he looks at you and he like shouts like, "No, no, no, no!" And as he does that, all of you see there's like a blinding flash of light that emerges from his eyes, and for like a split second, Grave Scorcher, in your head, you hear the grot's voice change from his usual high-pitched, annoying tone to this dark, demonic voice that's just like, "Shed the blood of the innocent." And you're like, what the hell was that? No one else hears this, but they see the flash of light, and you guys see like Grave Scorcher is dumbfounded. And if an orc knew fear, that'd probably be registered on his face right now. And you like immediately think trying to catch this grot is a terrible idea.
Yeah, so I'll I'll stand straight up, like shoot up, and just go, "Oh, what the hell was that?"
The grot runs off before you can yank his head from his body.
Damn. Next time.
Maybe
not that one.
Eventually, you guys will be gathered as Scornshar, and eventually Ironjaws gets word of this, and he clearly wants to go down to the planet as well. So he muscles his way to the front of the group as you guys are getting your shit together. Peppa, you do eventually hear that they're sending down a landing party if you want to go with. Just as you're about to start your surgery on this guy, another grot runs in and tells you, "Hey, Doc, they're sending them down. You going?"
Oh, yeah. Good times. And I'll
And
start trembling my way there.
He looks at the body of the orc and he says, "What happened to him?"
He needs some love and care. Surgery when I get back.
All right. Okay, good luck with that. And he holds the curtain open for you to your little hut as you get ready to leave.
Oh, what a nice guy. Yeah, so I'll go find wherever they're amassing for planet-side travel.
Okay, give me an awareness test, please.
Oh, no. Okay, I'm not bad at those. Yeah. 6 successes, 2 failures, 1 shift possible.
location over here. Okay. You turn. Do you can use one of your shifts if you'd like.
Yeah, I'll use one of them.
Okay. What do you want to use it for?
I think I'll give
you
it glory.
Okay. All right. So as you turn, you start walking away after you got your stuff, and then you hear an argument break out between two grots, and you can tell it's the two grots, the one that just opened the door for you, and the other one that was helping you move the orc, coming from inside your hut, and it sounds like they're fighting over something.
I will peek back in.
You see that the grot that held the thing open for you decided to help himself to the orc's boots, and now they are fighting over one of the boots. And as this happens, the one that helped you gets the boot away and begins to pummel the one that held the door open for you, screaming, "It's mine! It's mine!"
I'll chuckle, say, young kids, and I'll just walk away.
All right. You hear a final splat, and the thumping of the boot stops.
Jesus. All right, nice.
Eventually, Peppa joins the group of you. You see Iron Jaws is there, brooding, as always, pushing everyone out of the way to be to the front of the line. And the four of you are gathered together. It looks like it's you guys, him, and a handful of orcs who all appear to be wearing red-colored shirts. There is a couple grots as well. There's a lot of chatter over what you guys may be doing or what's going to happen. And eventually you guys are basically brought in. You guys are used to this at this point. They bring you through a couple checkpoints under a normal guard, nothing out of the ordinary. And they bring you to a room where there's like a projection, hollow projection. And usually whoever's going to tell you guys' task shows up at this point. And they tell you what you're going to be doing. And they bring in your crates of equipment, and they let you guys gear up. And then you're going to be able to head onto the shuttle. So everyone is in there, grabbing their gear, slapping on armor. You see Iron Jaws just, having a bunch of an army of grots clamp this armor onto his body. In some cases, they're drilling and bolting it into place, into many callous scars he have over his body where this is done over and over. He barely seems to register any of the pain, if at all, when this happens. And you see that they eventually remove his regular hand and replace it with the power claw hand. And he begins loading up one of his pistols. The projection, the holo projection, opens up, and you can see that it is Tech Priest Octarius in the hologram. And with his deep, mechanical, reverberating voice, very calmly, as always, with a very monotone tone to everything, he says, "Greetings. You're heading down planet side. There are ruins we have found. I need you to search them, find whatever you can, and bring it back to me. Can you do this?" And you see Iron Jaws, starting to stomp his feet in impatience. He's like, "Yeah, we got it. Now let me out." Octarius looks over to the rest of you, expecting any last questions.
No questions from this orc.
Anyone?
Would he bring in anything? Rocks? Metals?
If he had a face that you could see, you would see a look of rolling eyes so hard right now and kind of shaking his head in disbelief. But Octarius doesn't really give in to those human emotions, and he simply says, "No. Any technological pieces you can find. Weapons, gear, armor, data slates. You know what to look for. And you can tell he's directing that to you, Head Hacker.
For sure. I'd never leave such behind.
And he looks over the rest of you to see if anyone else has any questions.
Nope, Grave Scorcher is okay.
Yeah. Pep is
Ready to
fine
go.
here.
I'm sorry, what was that, Loktar?
Ready to go.
All right. The hologram dissipates, goes back into its little projector and fades away. And you guys are led, again, still under armed guard, over to the shuttle that you guys generally use. At this point, it's become a bit orcified. It's dirty. It's usually got random bits of stuff that you guys have left from the last mission. And some grots have managed to spray paint a few things on the side, mostly orc glyphs and things of that nature. But it seems that they don't really mind. The cabin of this shuttle is completely separated from the area that you guys are held in the back, so you don't have access to the cockpit. You guys strap in, and this shuttle begins to power up, and you guys then leave the safety of the ship, find yourself in open space. And you make your way down to this moon. Now, there are some small viewports in the little cargo bay area that you guys are in, where you're strapped in, so you can kind of see outside as you guys make your way forwards. And this is the planet, well, I guess the moon, I should say, that you see. Hold on, I gotta find it. So you see two things. You see first that there is a planet that you're kind of going past to go towards this moon. The planet is a kind of a sandy color from what you can see. It looks more or less like a big rock to you. And then you see the moon, which has a bit more of a yellowish color to it. And just to give you an idea of what you see, it's clearly smaller than the planet you're heading to. As you guys break through the atmosphere, the shuttle begins to shake, as it always does. And you find yourself on a surface that is very similar to Terra's moon. Doesn't seem to be much of an atmosphere here. Would all of you please give me an awareness test? Oh, wow. You guys are crushing it here.
God damn.
All right, so we've got two players here that have criticals. So you rolled a 6 on your wrath die, so that automatically gives you a point of glory. And then if anybody has any shifting they want to do, they can. Again, you can shift for glory, or you can shift for extra information and things. Also, glory is, I believe it maxes out at number of players plus 2, I think.
Where do you hit the the shift?
You left click on the 6 you want to shift
Okay.
to make sure it's highlighted, and then right click on it and it'll pop up a menu like when you spend fortune in Warhammer, and just do shift instead of shift for glory. And let me look up the glory here really quick, because I forget. Yeah, so glory is equal to either 6 or number of players plus 2, whichever is highest. So you guys' max will be 6. Okay. Anybody doing any other shifts, or is that it?
I'll shift for more information.
Okay. Anyone else?
Sure. Turn glory.
Okay. All right. So any of you that passed, you can see that it looks like most of this moon has a very similar surface to Earth's moon. It is kind of this sandy surface with dunes and small craters. It is very barren. There's not much here than the occasional, like, where the terrain changes, occasionally into like a small hill or like a very, very small mountain. But otherwise, it is like being on the moon's surface. There's no atmosphere. You're just staring out into the black void of space from the surface. Peppa, you notice in the distance what is clearly some sort of man-made object. And you realize that it is some sort of settlement or colony. It looks like a large dome structure. The dome, however, is clear, as if it's made of glass or like a see-through plastic of some sort. And you can see, even though it's far away, it's large enough where you can see in the distance there are buildings and structures within this dome, and very clearly lights indicating that there's some sort of power.
He will, I guess, point it out to the group. Boy, what's that? It's like buildings and shit.
All of you see what you would assume is some sort of settlement or a colony, perhaps. And yeah, it's like the only thing out of the ordinary on here. Once you guys see it, it sticks out like a sore thumb. At this point, let's say Head Hacka, you, before you have left, the Grot, what's his name, Zingitz, he would have handed you one of his 2 walkie-talkie devices to stay in contact with the ship. And he often acts as like a radio man for you guys. Much like many orc things, a human would have no idea how this thing works with, a transmission from the ship down to your shuttle. But it does. Zingitz is a bit of a crafty guy, much like you, so you get it. You understand it's proper. But for a human, they just think he's giving you like a broken walkie-talkie for some reason. And you hear that it kind of sparks into life, and you hear, Hey, boss, you there?
Hello, this is Head Hacker.
Hey, it's me. It's Zingritz. Yeah. Hey, look. There's that thing you see. I heard him talking, and it's well, I guess there's some colonies on the moon there, and yeah, don't go near those. The metal guys, the Madboyz, they make their bases there, and yeah. Casadora doesn't want you messing around there. I don't think we're supposed to be here.
Don't pop a bubble town.
Yeah, you got it.
Sure.
All of you can hear this. It's an open comm. It's not anything miraculous. It's basically just a space walkie-talkie that he's made.
Which way do we go?
He's like, I'll find out for you in a second. I think they're gonna tell you. I think they're dropping you off at some sort of cave, or yeah, something like that. Yeah, hold on. And you can like hear him kind of shuffling around in the background. At this point, your shuttle gets very low to the ground, and you can tell that the lights go off in the area that you guys are in. You guys know this doesn't happen too often, but they're basically running this shuttle on low power to try to avoid detection. Lokhtar, you feel in your element when the lights go out, as if like the shuttle itself is going into like a stealth mode, and you feel at home here in the dark when this happens. The rest of you all know that clearly this means they're trying to keep things under wraps as they get in low. And eventually the shuttle stops, makes landfall in the shadow of a small ridge or perhaps small mountain. And at this point, you can hear the pilots over the comms. They chime in. All right, you're clear to go. Head on inside, see what you can find.
All right.
And I need to use the bathroom really quick, so discuss amongst yourselves as they begin to open the bay doors for you.
So, we want to go check out that bubble town?
No, it seems we're looking for a hole.
There might be one in the bubble town. I'm just saying.
We could make the bubble town a hole.
Yeah? Mm-hmm. That definitely could work.
Madboyz, good fight.
Well, I guess we should at least get out and take a look around.
Yeah, that works. Gonna rush out.
I mean, I'm
Yeah,
going first.
had a battle formation.
I'm gonna push my way out first into the dark.
Yeah, I don't think there's any battle formation. I mean, I'm basically just holding a chopper and a syringe, so
Well, we're not gonna set up like a orc Spartan phalanx.
the only formation we
Strategically
have is
locked shields.
forward.
Now, you guys are given basically like the equivalent of some sort of spacesuit before you guys exit. So you guys have like a helmet that would go over your head, and you have like an oxygen supply to keep you safe from the vacuum of space. I mean, you are orcs, you are tough, but you're not immune to that sort of thing. So, you know, they give you your ramshackle suits that you guys have patched together over the years, and, you know, they're affixed with duct tape and random stuff to keep them going, and they somehow work when they clearly shouldn't, and no human would ever be caught dead in one of these things. But you guys suit up, and then you guys can see that the cabin that you're in depressurizes, and then eventually the back cargo door opens up, and all of you can instantly feel the gravity here is lighter than typical gravity. Very similar again to Earth's moon. Before you, in the shadow of this ridge, you can see that there is an opening of some sort of like cave that leads further in. What do you do?
Jump as high as I can and see if I can see that bubble town.
Not from where you're at. No, it's almost like you guys have kind of gone into like a small dip or valley. So you are fairly well covered from, unless something was right at the edge looking down at you guys.
I guess let's go into the hole.
All right. Well, you guys head forward and begin to make your way in that direction. Now, hold on, I'm checking some stuff here. You guys stomp forward. Again, there's a couple other orcs with you, and, you know, maybe a few Gretchen carrying some shit for you guys. And you make your way past this, the opening of the cave. You have to turn on lights on your suits and things because it is pitch black in here. And it looks like you're just inside a natural cave formation of some sort. You can see that Ironjaw looks very annoyed and disappointed there isn't anything to immediately smash and kill when he stomps through. You could literally hear him grinding his teeth in annoyance.
Hey, boss, you shouldn't waste that money. Those teeth are valuable.
He looks at you with murderous intent, as if to tell you to shut up.
All right, okay.
And he says, and you's better get up there and start looking. And he points for the group of you to go down like one of these tunnels that he sees. and he motions for some of the other orcs to go, and then he starts stomping down another tunnel by himself. And this is pretty typical of what Iron Jaws does.
All right, yeah. Guess I'll just start walking down a tunnel.
All right. Do the rest of you follow?
Yeah, Chris, could I use the turn on the tip of my burner as like a alternate source of light as well?
Yeah. It's not much when you just have it on, but it is better than nothing.
Hmm.
I don't know if orcs have dark vision in this universe like they do in Warhammer. I don't know if there's anything like that on your character sheets. To be perfectly honest, I really don't know.
I picked up one of those augmetic eyes to give me night vision, or the Presence goggles.
And what is that? It gives you night vision.
That's the heat vision. It's thermosensitive, which
Oh,
is
yeah.
listed as ignore any penalties to test due to visual conditions.
Oh, okay.
But yeah,
But it's like predator vision.
yeah, see heat signatures in the dark.
Very cool.
Okay. Well, you can clearly see your companions as they disappear down these tunnels, and the four of you, along with another orc or two in a grot, make your way down another path. It continues and it winds, and you quickly realize that you're in some sort of vast tunnel network. And please, everybody, give me another awareness test. This will be DN5. This music's a bit too epic for creeping around in a dark tunnel.
Oh, okay.
So many dice. Again, let me know what you guys get, because I'm not always looking at your rolls.
It's Grave Scorcher, 4 success, 1 failure.
I just need to know if you passed or failed, and then if you're shifting anything. So remember, you need to get enough successes to equal the DN, or she'll pass it.
Then fail.
Fail.
I think I would like to use a Wrath to re-roll.
Okay. You may do so. I believe if you just right-click on your text box, it pops up with the option, just like a fortune point.
Oh, nice. It says no more Wrath. What?
Did anybody pass? No more Wrath? What?
Yeah, it says no more Wrath.
You got 2.
Oh, Wrath.
You start with 2 at the start of every session.
Right. There we go. 8 successes. Okay.
Wait. Oh, I see. It re-rolled on your original roll. Didn't do a new roll. Holy fuck! Look at all those 6s. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you guys are capped out on glory, as well. That certainly hasn't changed from last edition.
Yeah, that's good. I guess I will shift one of these to more information, I guess.
Yeah, that's fine. So, you're the only one who notices this, Peppa, as you guys are marching down one of these halls. Something glints out of the corner of your eye, and you notice that there's like a small little offshoot down this tunnel that none of you saw because it was kind of so well hidden in darkness, but something glinted that you noticed draw your attention over there. And when you take a step closer and you look, you see it's big enough for one of you guys to fit through. I mean, it's not like super tight, but it's definitely smaller, not that noticeable. But what you see is that the rock eventually ends, and you can see there is some sort of metal, clearly something that's not natural, and it looks like it turns into almost like a hallway rather than a tunnel.
Boys! There's metal. Check it out.
You guys can see it looks like a passage that goes further into this network.
maybe our commando should go. And I will nudge him forward.
Fine by me. I'm gonna rush into the hallway.
All right. Yeah, you get in there and you see that as you make your way further down, the rock eventually ends and you're walking through what looks like a dilapidated hallway of some sort of structure.
No fight down here. Is there like stuff for me to like dig through?
No, it looks like it just kind of this hallway winds a bit further into the darkness.
I guess I'll just keep going.
Okay.
Yeah, I will be following, not super close if something happens, but close enough that if something does happen, I can offer immediate and helpful medical care.
First to fight.
Okay. Well, you continue down this hall for not very far, and eventually you come to a door. Very clearly a door which is closed, blocking the path.
Well, I guess I'm gonna try to open it.
All right. You try to give it a shove or force it open, and it feels like it is completely stuck. I will need a athletics test, I believe.
Okay. What's it made out of?
It's some sort of either metal or like some sort of concrete. It's hard to tell in the dark. It's nothing you've ever seen before. All right, you guys see Loktar tries to force this thing open, and he can't get it to budge. And you can tell that it looks damaged now that you're a little closer, Loktar. Perhaps it's rusted shut or jammed shut by something.
Hey, give me a hand.
All right. And I will slide over and help with my measly strength 3.
Are there assist rules in this game? I don't even know.
I have no idea. Yeah.
Let's find out. That's probably worth knowing. All right, rulebook. Let's see if you have a decent index. Assisting, maybe? No. What about group tests? Maybe that? No.
Support.
Ooh, support, maybe. Okay, I'll say this. With your assistance, you can lower the DN to 2. You can lower it by 1.
Nice.
So reroll.
Yeah, I think that would be fine. Sure.
Hey. Just
Okay.
enough.
Yep. So it takes all your effort. You guys can hear this thing scraping, clearly unpowered and unused for who knows how long. And you eventually get it open, and you see that it opens up into an actual room. You see that there's extensive damage here. Part of the ceiling is collapsed. Just a big, rock slide cave-in that takes up a corner of the room. You can see there's another door that leads further into things here, and there's just a wreckage of just something that hasn't been disturbed in so long. You can see that there is what looks like the remnants of perhaps furniture, but it is very hard to tell what this may have been.
Can I start looking around for anything that might be important? Like
Yes.
shiny metal things?
Yeah, give me an awareness test. This will also be DN 5.
All right, let's see. 8 successes.
Holy shit, dude. You're on fire.
Yeah, the dice
Okay.
roller is loving. I will shift one of these. Let me relook up what the shifting. Each shift you maybe quality, improve the quality.
Sure. Okay, just a second. Sorry.
Sure
Put my
thing.
book back. I'm just checking my GM screen here to see if there's anything helpful. No, they don't actually tell you. Oh no, I guess they kind of tell you a little bit. Not much, but okay. All right, so you start digging around. What's everybody else doing when you come into this like half caved in room?
Start digging around.
All right. Anybody who wants to look around can give me an awareness test.
Okay.
Yeah, sure, I'll throw one in.
5 as well.
Yes.
Okay. Oh boy.
Fail.
Nice.
Nope.
All right, hold on. I'm checking if this should be awareness or investigation. I don't know what the difference is.
I was looking
Okay.
at the investigation skill. There's a lot of stuff in that one.
No, it's definitely awareness. Investigation is to like put clues together and actually do research and stuff like that. So this is more of your perception, which is what we're looking for. Okay, for those of you that pass, you see that there are extensive signs of weapons damage in here. You're seeing things like bullet holes, scorch marks that would indicate, however old this is, that something went down here. And Peppa, you shifted to get some extra successes, right?
To get hot, it's at quality to make
Yeah,
it.
okay.
Yeah.
So you find something else that points to more signs of battle, but what you see very clearly are claw marks of some sort of creature.
He'll run his fingers through the claws, like, look at what this did.
Yeah, they're fairly good-sized claw marks. They are very deep into this this concrete. You're guessing this was probably a wall at some point. About the size of your hand, like humanoid size, not like massive, creature, but yeah, looks fairly strong.
Be careful where you step, boys.
Do you guys check out the door and head further, or do you stay in this room?
Not too much to take with us here. Let's keep going.
Oh,
Head up.
All right. When you get to the next door, you realize it's more of like a regular door that is, or perhaps was, on hinges. Very easily, you just are able to push it to the side, move a little bit of rubble aside, and you find yourself going further into this structure. There's a set of tunnels that you're able, or not tunnels, but more hallways. You're kind of like at a T intersection. One of those is completely caved in by some force of destruction. The other one goes further into this structure.
Let's keep
yes.
going, boys.
Yeah, go to the one we can walk through.
All right. About halfway down this hall in the darkness, you guys find unmistakably in the there's more signs of damage on the walls, and you eventually find what looks like some sort of firearm. It's nothing that any of you have ever seen, but it looks fairly simple and rudimentary.
Something that would fit our hands or something smaller?
No, it definitely looks like it's for a humanoid-sized creature.
Yeah, I'll
Oh,
take a look at that, I think. See if there's anything interesting about it.
When you pick it up, it feels incredibly frail, and just turning it over in your hands, taking a look at it, it begins to fall to pieces.
Ah, good thing we don't make them like they used to.
Built orc tough.
Oh boy.
Do you continue further down the hall?
Yeah, let's just keep going.
All right. Further down the hallway, you eventually find your way to what looks like a fairly heavily bulkhead type door. It looks like it's taken some damage, but it there's like a fairly large hole in part of it, and you would recognize probably the signs of explosives or some sort of burn marks, and looks like you might be able to squeeze through.
I guess I'm gonna push through.
All right. Loktar, when you make your way through here, it is a tight fit, but you're able to make your way inside. You see what looks like some sort of old, unused command center. There are banks of cogitators and old screens, most of which are cracked and damaged, covered in dust and dirt. Again, everything is pitch black in here except for the lights you guys have with you. And as you step forward, you can see what looks like the remains of humanoid creatures. Now, they are so old that mummified doesn't really even begin to explain. As you kind of walk or maybe bump into one or knock one with your foot, the actual quote-unquote body just shrivels to dust, as if just the slightest disturbance will do that to these things. The armor that they're wearing is not in much better shape and clearly is just very scrap remnants, much like the gun that Hedhaka picked up. The armor begins to just fall into whatever little pieces still remain. But it is clear to you that these are bodies of some sort.
Hey, take a look at this.
Oh, bodies. Can I do a Medicaid check to see like how they died, or?
Yes, it will be DN. Let's see. Well, looking at my chart here, assigning difficulty, I would say this would be extreme. So we're going to say it's DN9.
Oh shit. Okay. Let's see, boys. I have a fair amount of dice for this. Ooh. I guess I will use my last wrath to re-roll.
All right. I believe when you use Wrath, it does not re-roll complications.
Okay. So do you want me to roll the complication first?
Well, let's double check and make sure before we make any rolls here. Let's look up spending Wrath. Page 164. Yeah, it won't let you re-roll the dice that had the complication. So I think if you, try it and see. I'm assuming the system will do it properly.
Okay.
Yeah, it did.
Okay. Shit.
Oh, so
Only
close.
8.
Do you want to use a point of glory? Also, our glory is only at 6. It caps out. If you want to use a point of glory, that lets you roll another die.
Sure.
How does that? How do we do it here in Foundry? Well, clearly we get rid of one. Is there a way to?
I could just re-roll like one of the 2s.
Well, you can just roll a d6 at the bottom with the chat log thing, and then spend a point of glory.
A 6. Up to 10.
Wait, it was just a heart. How do you read those dice? What the fuck?
They're aperture science dice, so the heart is the 6.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. All right. Well, that gives you 10 successes and a complication here. And lose item. That doesn't make sense. I'll take a point of ruin for that.
Okay.
So, Peppa, you take a look, and, again, when you even remotely get close to these things, they start to just deteriorate. But what you can tell is that they are most likely humans of some sort based on the size and the shape. Um, Looks like you're assuming they were Imperial, although it's nothing that you've ever seen, but there's something in your mind that tells you it kind of matches what you guys are used to. Um, Now, you guys probably don't really know much about the Imperium, given how you guys are kept, but you would identify that these are Umis, and they, you know, it's the same type of people that have, enslaved you, your bosses. So it's, you're guessing, oh, it's one of their colonies or one of their bases or something. As far as how they died, very hard to tell, but you are able to tell with this particular one that you're looking at. You can see that parts of the armor and what remains of the ribs underneath have been slashed or cut with some extreme force. The damage on the armor is similar to what you saw in the room before.
Okay, sick. These are Yumis, boys. This one probably died from slashing.
Yeah, you're guessing some sort of creature.
Don't see any clawed corpses around here. Maybe they're further in.
Yeah. Let's keep going, I guess.
All right, well, how do you want to proceed?
You said this was a control room, though. Is there tech in here?
Why don't you give me an awareness test and see what you can scrounge up?
No. not my expertise.
Wow. Great roll. Don't play 40k. You will lose.
Before we go.
I do.
You've lost. Okay. Well, there gets your glory bit right back up. Nicely done. So, Head Hacka, you're looking around, and you can see that most of this stuff is damaged, probably beyond all repair or usefulness, unless you had a lot of time to spend down here. However, you do find one little terminal that you somehow get a little power and juice going. You click a button to try to activate this terminal, and you guys can hear the static of a transmission. As the static begins to clear, you can hear voices and shouts of panic, followed by the clear sounds of gunfire, along with the hissing and roaring of creatures in the background. It only plays for maybe 6-7 seconds, and as it cuts out, you guys can hear the distinctive whir of machinery powering up. You see a couple of the monitors flip on, static and flickering through cracked glass. And then you hear a loud clunking and cranking noise. And to your shock, you see that from the ceiling, 2 ceiling panels, well, one's missing and the other one gets knocked aside as 2 automated defense turrets drop from the ceiling and target you guys and begin to open fire.
Oh, shit.
So, I'm gonna roll to see who it shoots here. So there's 4 of you, and we'll say there's 2 orcs, so I'll roll d6 here for the first one. Okay, first one's hitting one of your red shirts, and the second one is hitting Peppa.
No.
All right. The first orc. Gotta do it that way. Okay, hold on. I gotta find the fucking stats for this gun. Oh, here we go. Is that it? I think. Yes. Okay. All right. So this orc. Oh boy. You hear the sound of a heavy bolter open up, and you see one of the orcs standing nearby is completely shredded as bullets just rip into him, and just he explodes into chunks of meat as the heavy bolter rips him apart. The other orc dives for cover. The grot also dives for cover as this happens. Peppa, the other one, opens fire on you. What is your defense?
1.
Oh boy. Oh my.
Yikes.
It did roll. Oh, you know what? These don't have wrath criticals. That is an issue because we need to know that. All right, I'll have to figure out how to do that later. It has a lot of successes, but it only has one shift.
Okay.
So it hits you. It does. I'm going to add that obviously to damage here. So when you shift for damage, that gives you an extra damage die. And when you do an extra damage die, you simply roll a d6. And on a 4, 5, or 6, it adds another point of damage.
Okay.
Just make sure that is correct. Got a 4, so that'll be 1 point of damage. So it is doing a total. Oh, I'm sorry, it has 2 extra damage dice itself as well. Okay, those didn't do anything. It does a total of 13 damage with an AP of -1.
Oh boy.
So you're going to take your resilience. Do you have any armor, first and foremost?
I'm wearing orc flak, which is a rating of 2.
Okay, so that gets reduced to 1 because of the AP 1. And then you just reduce the damage by your remaining resilience.
Okay. So damage is, you said 13. My resilience is 8, and I'm wearing orc flak. But it only counts as 1.
Correct.
So is the orc flak already included in my resilience?
It should be on your character sheet.
It just says 8. It's not telling me how it calculates it.
I believe resilience is your toughness plus any armor.
Okay. My toughness is 5. So
And
that's
your
right.
armor's 2.
Right.
Do you have any talents? Or other gear?
Just dock tools, the earty syringe, and the choppa. So. Okay, well.
Well, I'm sure the game is calculating it correctly. It
Right.
might be like 1 plus something.
Right, sure.
So
It would be 13 minus 8, 5 wounds.
okay, you take 5 wounds
Jeez.
as these bullets rip into you. You are not as unlucky as the other orc, though, who is just torn asunder.
Ready now.
All right, so at this point, I guess we would kind of have a combat start here, so to speak. So all of the rest of you can act. That was a surprise round that was on you guys from these things. So you make act, and in this game, we are using the house rules for initiative, where you actually roll initiative rather than just your initiative score. So if everybody would please roll their initiative stat.
Oh, shit.
Actually, hold on, wait. Let me start an actual fight here. Hold on. All right. And let me put your guys' tokens on the screen here so you can add yourselves to the initiative track. Sorry, they're really tiny. You need to zoom in here. Look at those awesome tokens.
So,
All right. And now you should be able to do initiative like normal. There we go. All right. I need Matt on the initiative tracker, please. There we go. Go ahead and roll. Wow, you guys are really good at this. Everybody rolled a 2.
Damn, boys.
It's like real orcs. I think it's
Fucking
initiative
killing
in
it.
40k is 2. All right, we'll just go in the order then. So Grave Scorcha, you're first. What would you like to do?
He needs to burn them. So,
Makes sense.
yeah. So he's gonna use his burna on the turrets.
All right. They are defense 1.
Okay.
Actually, here, hold on. Before you roll,
Okay.
I'm gonna put an enemy token here.
Oh, to target
Yeah. Oh wait, that's the wrong one.
Nope.
Gun servitor.
this one.
Yep.
No, it's not letting me do the. Oh, there we go. And then I just hit weapon, right? What's the?
Yep.
What's the DN?
1.
DN one.
When you make an attack, the DN is the defense of the target.
Gotcha. Okay. Blammo.
Okay. You have hit. You may roll the damage, please. 11 damage. Any AP on that?
0.
Okay. Well, let me get out ye old trusty calculator, because that hasn't changed. 11 minus his resilience. Okay. You do a little bit of damage to this thing. Is it enough? It is. I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah.
It's just a fucking gun in the ceiling, right? It is exactly enough. So, yeah, you light this thing up, and by the time you're done, it's just melted slag dripping from the ceiling. Eric, you're next.
I love Bernies.
All right. I'm gonna pull out my shooter and start shooting.
All right, let her rip. Remember to target the token.
Oh, oops. I did not do that. I'm gonna reroll that and target.
Up to you. All right, then hit roll damage, because most weapons have extra damage dice. So that's what the rolling damage does to see if they do anything extra. It does not.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Any AP on that, or just straight 10?
AP, no. 0.
Okay. 10 is not enough to destroy this thing. You do damage it. You definitely score a hit as bullets go flying in every direction. You see one, it's like a twin-link heavy bolter. One of the bolters like pops off and is smoking, but the other one is still clearly active. Head hacker, you're next.
Okay.
We need to change your guys' tokens here so they... I'll do that. You keep doing what you're doing.
How much space do we have here against this guy?
There's a good amount of room in here.
I guess what I'm really asking is if I shot him with a custom Mega Blaster, how many people would be caught in the
What's the blast radius of
resulting
that?
explosion? 4?
Yeah, I mean, especially because not everyone is gone yet, you would definitely be in danger of hitting some of your teammates.
Okay. Hold on. Let me.
You're an orc. Live your life.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Let's see, how does blast actually work?
Oh boy.
All right, blast hit X number of targets. That seems pretty simple. So let's just let's check the book here for further descriptions, shall we? If it's really that simple, that would be amazing.
Fire, throw, blast weapon.
What is it? Weapon trait, right?
Yeah.
Page 208. Okay, explosive weapons can devastate multiple enemies in a single attack. When you throw or fire a blast weapon, choose any point in range, including another character, and make a DN3 ballistic skill test. Apply range effects as normal unless you're using it. Throw them up in like a grenade. If you fail, the attack misses and scatters. If you succeed, the explosion is centered on your target. Okay, so it's always DN3 with this weapon because of how blast weapons work, I guess. Because you're targeting a spot, and it, let's see. If you're measuring distance, the blast rating determines the radius of the explosion in meters. Anyone inside this radius is hit by the attack. You cannot shift to increase the damage of a blast weapon. If you inflict a critical hit, the effect applies to all targets that were hit by the attack. And what's the blast rating? 4?
Yeah.
Oh, it's not on the chart here. It goes 2, 6, 10, 20, and 30. It looks like it would hit 2 targets, according to this chart in the book. So you'll hit one of your teammates if you do so. Assuming you don't miss and it doesn't scatter.
If you want to target me, that's okay. Or like hit me in the blast, that's fine. Not actually target me.
So, basically, if you shoot, you're gonna hit the thing, and we're gonna roll to see who else it hits. But Sean is included in the potential targets because he hasn't gone yet.
Okay. Well, you know what? Sure. Who is orcs out here?
Yes.
Oh my god!
Let's see what
Character
happens.
death session 1. Can we do it?
Let's go.
It's fine. It'll just overheat in my hands, and I'll die, and then still another person will
Yeah,
explode also.
still a character death. That's what we're looking for. How many orcs can we get through in this campaign?
Hold on.
It's gonna be like only war, but for orcs. Only warks.
Only Wa. Oh man. So be sure you target the token, Matt,
Yeah.
and then just click the name of your weapon and it should do the attack.
Sounds good. What's that about? DN? Or
The DN is 3 with a blast weapon. It's always 3, according to the rules.
this is base 1 here. I don't know where that default came from.
Because the servitor's defense is 1.
Oh, okay.
So are you able to change it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, well, let's kick it. Not a great roll.
It's enough.
Hey,
Exactly enough.
Oh, wow, that's a lot of ones and twos.
All right, roll damage. Okay, so it is on target, which means it doesn't scatter. However, one of your teammates is in the blast radius, so we're gonna roll here. Sean, pick it high or low.
Always 69. So high.
All right.
Nice.
If it is high, then you are fine. If it's low, it hits you.
Okay. Let's go, boys. Oh.
Oh no.
No.
Okay. Well, the gun is annihilated in a blast of superheated custom mega blasted damage. And Sean, you are hit for 18 damage AP 3.
Woo. Okay.
You can dodge, though.
I'm sorry, what did you say, Matt?
You can dodge. I think. It said on the... That's one of the things in the blast rules.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. Where does it say that?
Anyone hit by a blast weapon can attempt to dodge the attack as detailed in dodging area effect attacks.
What page is that on? I don't see that here.
I'm using the in-game reference, and it doesn't tell me what page it's on.
Really? Okay, hold on. Where do you see that?
The note is under in journal.
Yep.
Rules
Journals?
combat and
Yep.
under ranged attacks, there's a zone for area of effect weapons.
Oh, okay, hold on. I'm looking under blast weapons. That's probably why.
Oh, is that different? Hold on.
Oh, I was looking under the weapon trait, not ranged attacks. Okay, well, hold on. We're all learning. That's fine. I mean, Sean's life is flashing before his eyes. We should probably make sure we're doing this right.
It's been a short life, so it has passed very quickly. He's now just watching in horror as the fire
Oh yeah.
comes towards him. It's
Yeah,
like a 2-second flashback.
Oh, it's in the same section. I just need to scroll down a little more. If you're caught in a blast radius or hit by a flamer, you may attempt the full defense combat option, adding 1 plus any icons rolled to your resilience instead of your defense. You can dive for cover, but might not escape a full explosion or shrapnel. The GM may decide that some attacks can't be dodged or avoided. Area effect attacks with blast 6 or more or a radius of over 10 meters are usually too big to escape in this way.
Okay, well, that's good to know. So we need to do, what was it, combat options?
The full defense combat option?
Is it attack options? Well, that's for attack. Oh, yeah, here it is. It's under attack options. Full defense. You can use a full round action to focus on dodging incoming attacks. Your speed is reduced by half, and you must make an initiative attribute test.
Oh no.
Until the end of your turn, your defense is increased by 1 plus 1 for every icon rolled in the initiative test. You can activate full defense as a reflexive action. If you do so, you can't perform movement, combat, or simple actions in a turn. Let's read this again. For dodging, as detailed as dodging area of effect attacks. So what this means, Sean, is if you do full defense, you add 1 to your defense plus 1 for any icons you roll.
Okay.
Right? Yeah, so you may attempt full defense combat action, adding plus 1 any icon. Is it plus 1 to any icons? Plus 1 4. Okay, hold on. That's weirdly worded.
Yeah, I think it's you add 1 and you roll, and whatever you get in the roll, you also add.
Let me
Yeah.
see if that's how it's worded here in the book.
Because there's a
Oh, yeah.
comma. So they could have just said, and an additional plus 1 for every icon rolled in the initiative attribute test would have clarified.
It's possible they messed up when they put stuff into Foundry.
Yeah. The example
Yeah,
the example
retype it.
below clarifies though. She had plus 1 and then plus the 4 icons from her roll to her defense, adding a total of 5.
Oh yeah, it's wrong in Foundry.
A rip.
Oh wait, no, I'm reading the wrong thing. Hold on. Where's the example? I'm sorry.
Under attack options. Full defense.
Okay. She has 1 plus the 4 icons. Okay. So you need to beat... He rolled 3.
Yeah.
So you need to beat that. So you need
Okay.
you need to basically get your defense up to 4 to dodge.
Okay. Guys, my initiative stat is 1. Can I borrow some glory? Can I use some glory here?
I believe you can only spend 1 glory, unless I'm mistaken. I don't think you can spend multiple glory, but let me check. Rules. Glory. You can only use this option once per test,
Okay.
adding an extra die.
Okay. So,
So your defense is 1.
right.
You get plus 1 for doing this option,
So it's 2.
and then your initiative is 1.
Correct.
You spend glory, so you're gonna roll 2 dice. They both need to be successes, or one of them needs to be a 6, which would be 2 successes.
Okay.
That would give you 4 defense.
So I can only do this after the initial roll and any reroll of failures using Wrath. Okay, so I'll just hit the initiative first.
Yep.
Oh boy.
Oh my.
Oh, it's a
Oh,
you got it.
No way! He doesn't even need to spend any glory. Incredible.
Easy peasy.
Wow.
Gork looks down upon me and smiles.
Yeah, you know. You can feel the gun charging up and you know what's about to happen. So you instinctively throw yourself behind some rubble of like a bank of computers, and even though it's behind you, the room lights up as the explosion hits the turret, and it is completely annihilated, and then all is quiet and dark again, aside from your lights on your suits. And I think that's a good way to end the first session.
I think so.
Oh boy.
Oh my god, incredible.
But that definitely made it funny as fuck. I'm so glad you shot.
It sounds like a bunch of orcs actually playing the game. That's what's even better, with all of you guys laughing like that. Well,
Follow the orc ways and
oh man. Okay. I didn't think we were going to get too far in session one because we had a lot to talk about. But there you go, listeners. That's a taste of what's to come and the goofiness that we can expect. So if we're willing to try to kill Sean on Combat 1, I think we're in for a good campaign. So
Yeah.
thank you all for joining us, and we will see you next time, next week. Same time, same place. Nighty-night.